This is a failure in marketing, 100%. You guys are going to produce a Indiana Fever all access video package. One coming out a day, one every other day. And you're not going to have a special package for the reason for the season, for the reason why we're all here, to the reason why you went from 4,000 people in 23 to 17,000 average attendance.
Let's be very honest about what just happened. Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, wasn't simply outplayed. Their own celebrity minute and seconds Caitlin Clark herself methodically and completely exposed them. And trust me when I say that this fan base is currently seeing a level of backlash that has never been seen in this second season. We witnessed more than a few questionable plays and a subpar performance. I must acknowledge a few fans. I must give you credit. You haven't forgotten a minute or a second. You still remember what the Indiana Fever did to you last year when they misled everyone during the Caitlin Clark injury debacle. We haven't discussed this, by the way. Just now, right now I was thinking about this. Recall the Angel Ree incident, in which Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever supporters were a bunch of bigots. Minutes, seconds the Indiana Fever never stood up for their supporters. They didn't come out and try to shoot that down right away. Nothing. Minutes, seconds. Rather, they provided an innocuous sentence. Well, and we're looking into it. Seconds, minutes, blah blah. Never returned and expressed regret to the fans for looking into the matter. I mean, they butt right in, but minutes and seconds bought right into the story very quickly and in a hurry. It's clear that radicals are in charge of this organization. I'm just being minutes, seconds, and real. You have people who are obsessed with their agendas, minutes and seconds, and the Indiana Fever continue to emphasize on social media that Stephanie White is the franchise's salvation. Minutes, seconds, where are they? You idiots are unaware of it. Minutes, seconds, what do I mean? However, they have not forgotten. They haven't extended forgiveness. A mirror was held up as a result. Minutes squarely in the face of a whole organization that, by all accounts, has been making dubious decisions for months on end. And last night, for the entire nation to witness, every single one of those poor choices and strategic errors came crumbling down in a matter of minutes. You must realize that the front office and coaching staff have long been the target of criticism. However, the team's performance in the last seconds of the game gave them all the evidence they could have possibly needed to prove their point. After that, you received this. Indiana Fever shares this on social media in a matter of minutes and seconds. As training camp draws to a close, our focus is on the regular season. Quote, I take great pride in representing this franchise in a minute, second positive way. We watch head coach Stephanie White's journey in minutes and seconds. Fuck me until I cry. Mother, fudge me for minutes and seconds. I'm attempting to tidy it up, guys. I'm attempting to tidy it up a bit for you all. Oh, the bait for anger. Oh, minutes, seconds. Oh, we didn't miss this post at all. Yes, minutes and seconds. Gosh, oh gosh. God. Yes, minutes and seconds. Well done. Minutes, seconds, all right. That's where we're halting it. I am no longer able to. The screams you hear are those of the former Vanderbilt program that she set on fire. Seconds, minutes, Venom. Read the room, Adman, my boy Venom. You're a bunch of morons, my boy CDS. Just keep doubling down with this. Minutes, seconds, Carlos Garcia, my boy. Couldn't even manage to laugh at you while simultaneously feeling queasy. Minutes, seconds. Since this is not how you now deliver content, please hire an expert to perform video PR. Minutes, seconds, whoa. They are actually choosing a head coach over their stars and supporters. Sides and Whites were mentored by Lynn Dunn. We go Christie's side in minutes and seconds. I'm so sorry. I truly am. Yes, the entire company is. Seconds, a jumble of nepotism. This year we'll see if White wins the title of star killer. Wow, minutes, seconds. This is why the impact of this specific moment is so distinct from that of a typical loss. Minutes, seconds. This wasn't some sort of unexpected ambush by an outstanding opponent of championship caliber that no one anticipated. No, it was a second-rate, seriously flawed performance that made viewers at home genuinely wonder if this team is truly moving ahead at all. Minutes, seconds, or if it's quietly disintegrating from the inside out. Minutes, seconds around Raven Johnson, the draft choice, and Kelsey Mitchell, the three individuals they are promoting on this team, all received an episode. And Stephanie White has her own episode in the most recent episode, Minutes and Seconds. Minutes, seconds. Fans won't put up with it. This is a marketing failure. Minutes, seconds. You're going to create an all-access video package for the Indiana Fever. Minutes, seconds, one every other day, one every day. Additionally, you won't receive a unique bundle because of the Minutes and Seconds season. You're not Minutes or Seconds going to offer that person a specialized video, which is why we're all here and why you went from Minutes and Seconds people to average attendance. Minutes, seconds, Indiana Fever, they simply keep making mistakes everywhere you look. Minutes, seconds, and I was able to give credit where it was due. They are being informed about it by fans. They are expressing their annoyance. Stephanie White's Indiana Fever is being completely destroyed in a matter of minutes and seconds. There is only one question when your franchise player is widely regarded as the league's most must-watch transcendent talent at the moment, and the team that is supposedly built around her appears to be completely outclassed, disorganized, and lost. Minutes and seconds that each and every viewer must be asking themselves. Is Stephanie White truly the best coach to help Caitlin Clark reach her greatest potential? Or is this institution actually obstructing its own generational superstar, whether on purpose or not? Minutes, seconds, because when you sit down and critically watch the way this team operates on the court, the strange and confusing rotations, and the way their entire game minutes and seconds plan seems to shatter the second things get physical and competitive, it eventually stops looking like a simple development problem or growing pains. As minutes, seconds begins to appear as a basic philosophical disconnect between the coach watching from the sidelines and the player she is meant to be developing. This is not a recent issue. This exact issue has been brought up by devoted fans for minutes, seconds, and the entire offseason, and last night's events did nothing to calm those voices. Let's examine why the entire Indiana Fever fanbase is doubting everything they believe to be true about the team's future after this 1 minute, 1 second performance. More significantly, why minutes and that extreme annoyance is entirely justified. You must realize that this discussion goes far beyond a single difficult night on the basketball court. Box scores or a single defeat in the standings is not relevant here. We are discussing a fanbase that has been keeping track of every move this front office makes throughout the season, paying extremely close attention, and doing their homework. Minutes, seconds. These are the same folks that purchase season tickets, flock to stores to purchase jerseys, and put all of their emotional energy into minutes, second this team because they genuinely think that Caitlin Clark is a great asset to the sport's future. And what they got in return last night was a performance that lasted only a few minutes and felt like a slap in the face. On that particular night, the front office minutes and seconds ran out of excuses, and the Fever ran out of court answers. This is where the conversation is going to get quite hot, so I need you to share whatever you are thinking in the comments. This is the exact moment when the entire discussion abruptly shifts into territory that, in my opinion, few people were really prepared for. Because you can see that these fans' unadulterated frustration is no longer limited to the game of minutes and seconds basketball. Wins and losses are only one aspect of it. Rebounding stats and perplexing rotation choices are not the only factors to consider. No. Minutes. Secondly, this problem extends much beyond what is visible on the hardwood floor. The harsh reality is that there is a serious lack of trust between the Indiana Fever Minutes Seconds organization and its own fan base. Furthermore, that issue didn't appear out of nowhere last night. Minutes, seconds, and it most definitely didn't begin at the start of this season. It all began a long time ago when this organization was given numerous excellent chances to stand up and forcefully support the very people who attend every single night, fill those arenas to capacity, and are the reason this franchise is worth anything at all. Second place, minutes. And they opted for silence rather than allegiance. They opted for a feeble neutrality. At the precise moment when their followers needed and deserved something much louder and clearer, they took the easiest route. Minutes, seconds. Not all of this fan base's current emotional scars were caused by a single court defeat. The deepest ones were produced by the minutes, and those in charge of this organization decided to turn a blind eye when defending their supporters was the only viable course of action. And you know what? Minutes later, these fans deserve all the praise in the world for their dedication and passion. They've experienced a great deal, and they've previously witnessed the organization's second style of behavior. The fact that they continue to show up, speak up, and demand better is evidence of. Minutes, seconds demonstrate how much they actually care about this squad and the superstar attempting to lead it. Their deep investment is the source of their frustration. And every single person watching this needs to take a moment to sit and think about the question that is raised by those minutes and seconds. When the supporters who devote the greatest amount of time and resources, who genuinely care about the team's success, and who put in the most effort every single night are consistently the last people this front office seems to take into account when making important decisions, what does that actually say about a minutes and seconds professional sports organization? Why does it seem that the Indiana Fever organization operates with a totally different and occasionally contradictory set of priorities than the very fan base that provides the organization's funding? And now for the question that no one wants to ask aloud, possibly the most awkward of all. If the people operating this minute-second franchise have repeatedly proved that they will not defend their own followers, that they will not push back against misleading narratives that paint their most devoted consumers in the worst possible way, what, therefore, is the true nature of the relationship between this organization and the individuals occupying those seats each and every night? Minutes, seconds. The solution appears to be one that this front office is obviously not prepared to address in public. However, the fan base has already come to this conclusion on its own in minutes and seconds. You see, slick press releases and well-crafted, non-committal statements from a public relations staff do not restore trust. That's not how it operates. It's minutes and seconds. Rebuilding trust requires tangible action. Genuine accountability helps rebuild it. And it is rebuilt in those crucial moments, minutes, seconds, when an organization has the guts to look its followers in the eye and declare categorically that it stands with them minutes, seconds, no matter what. The Indiana Fever have had many opportunities to demonstrate their loyalty, and they have continuously chosen to take a different route. They are currently dealing with the inevitable fallout from that minute-by-minute pattern of behavior. They are up against a fan base that remembers everything, forgives nothing, minutes and seconds, and is now closely observing every action this organization takes with the kind of intense scrutiny that only arises when people are genuinely and repeatedly disappointed by something they once firmly believed in. Then, just when you thought things couldn't possibly get worse, the Indiana Fever organization took an almost unbelievable action. At a time when their entire fan base was already incensed, extremely vocal on social media, and closely observing every move this front office made. The organization's social media account managers determined that posting positive, joyful content about its head coach, Stephanie White, was the ideal minute-by-minute strategic move. The very real minute-by-minute worries that were flooding their timelines were not acknowledged. It was not a message to the fan base that even hinted at self-awareness regarding the current state of affairs. No, it was a full-fledged commercial article that entirely ignored the current situation and treated the head coach as the franchise's impenetrable crown asset. Additionally, the response from those who saw that post was instantaneous. It was visceral and entirely comprehensible. You see, there's being tone-deaf and there's whatever this was. Minutes, seconds. This was an act that was intentionally adding gasoline to a blazing inferno that they had ignited themselves. They then had the gall to claim shock when the flames simply grew larger. You got this after all of that. As if the volcano of fan rage weren't erupting in front of them, the organization continued to post, doubling down on their praise minutes and seconds. Whoa, minutes, seconds, just amazing. And that compels everyone viewing this to pose a really difficult question that gets directly to the core of the issue. Minutes, seconds. Does their front staff have any idea how terrible things have actually gone between them and their own fan base at this point? Is there a single person in that building whose job it is to just read the minutes, observe the room, judge the supporters' mood, and have the common sense to say, hey, maybe, just maybe, this is not the right moment for this? Minutes, seconds, specific types of content. Because it ceases to appear like an innocent error or a straightforward oversight when your supporters are already at their breaking point, and you react by aggressively doubling down on minutes, seconds, the exact thing that is making them so furious in the first place. It begins to appear as minutes and seconds of purposeful, cognitive decision-making. The true question that arises from all of this chaos is the following. For whom is this organization making these decisions? Minutes, seconds. Who is this content meant for? Because it is obvious that those who are purchasing tickets, paying for minutes, purchasing merchandise, and devotedly streaming every game are not the intended audience. A very unsettling picture of how this organization truly functions internally is painted by the response that the comment sections and the overwhelming fan reactions are pointing minutes, seconds toward. When a front office consistently puts its own preferred narrative ahead of the justifiable, widespread complaints of its fan base, it reveals something absolutely fundamental about the true allegiances within that building. Before they hit the post button, organizations that are genuinely connected to their supporters can sense the pulse of the room in a matter of minutes. They are aware that corporate messaging and eye-catching promotional materials do not instantly restore confidence, especially if it has been repeatedly betrayed. No, humility is what fixes things. Minutes and seconds are fixed by accountability. Minutes, seconds, and most significantly, it is fixed by choices that at last demonstrate to the supporters that their opinions are valued and heard. The Indiana Fever are currently doing the exact opposite, and their supporters have clearly had enough. The Indiana Fever just gave their fan base another compelling reason to doubt everything that is going on inside that minute-seconds building. So if you mistakenly believe that the on-court issues and the startlingly tone-deaf social media decisions were the entire extent of this organization's disconnection from its own supporters, you should reconsider. This time it had nothing to do with rotations or rebounds at all. It all has to do with how this company chooses to sell itself and, more crucially, who they decide to focus that marketing on. So grab this. Minutes before the new season began, the Fever launched a brand new video series that was obviously intended to create anticipation and establish a closer bond with viewers. And when those fans looked at who was genuinely receiving the attention and the special feature, the response was nothing short of explosive. Minutes, seconds, and who was being positioned as the public face of this franchise's major promotional push. Because the one person who single-handedly turned this minutes, seconds organization from a league afterthought into a national phenomenon, the one player in charge of every sold-out arena, every new viewer on the minutes, seconds league, and every enormous spike in merchandise revenue, was noticeably and completely mysteriously absent from minutes, seconds at the top of that priority list. And when you consider this, that reality poses a question that is actually hard to comprehend. Minutes, a scenario with external logic of any kind. How in the world does a major sports team's professional marketing department at Minutes, Seconds fail to recognize its own most valuable asset as the focal point of its entire content strategy? How is it possible to create a significant promotional series that is intended to excite your fan base and then, in a matter of minutes or seconds, manage to obscure the one name for which your entire fan base initially turned out? Is this only a disastrous situation? Failure of fundamental strategic thinking in minutes or seconds? Or is it more profound than that? Is it possible that this organization's perception of the player who single-handedly prevented this club from becoming completely irrelevant and what her role should be in the public narrative they are frantically trying to tell is far more worrying than minutes and seconds? Minutes, seconds is the response that many fans are now choosing, and it is both remarkably straightforward and extremely damning. A sports organization sends a crystal-clear message about its internal priorities when it routinely decides to elevate other names and faces above its minutes, seconds, biggest, and most transformative star in its own promotional materials. Whatever anyone inside that building may claim in public, marketing is never accidental. These content strategies are intentional decisions made by experts who are thought to have a deeper understanding of their target audience than anybody else. Minutes and seconds, and it becomes more than just a simple oversight when those decisions consistently seem to belittle and downplay the very person who got that audience through the door. Minutes, seconds, and begins to resemble a deliberate pattern. The Indiana Fever organization was not supported by the fan following that was developed around Caitlin Clark. They appeared for her in minutes and seconds. And the trust between this team and its minutes, seconds supporters just keeps eroding day after frustrating day, because the Indiana Fever organization still acts as though that is not the fundamental, unchangeable reality of their entire situation right now. The Indiana Fever is at a crucial juncture right now, and every choice they make going forward will be closely examined and remembered. Because Caitlin Clark is here to stay, the fan base you see is not going anywhere. However, you must realize that there is a limit to tolerance, and this organization has been testing that limit non-stop, practically challenging its supporters to cross it. In the event that the front desk fails to recognize reality, the Minutes will go down in history as having wasted the biggest gift any struggling team has ever received if they do not start making decisions that truly reflect the historic situation they are in. With a player like this, you don't get another chance. You don't get Caitlin Clark twice in minutes or seconds. Additionally, you must click the subscribe button immediately because, trust me, we are only a few minutes away from starting this.